Hey everybody, welcome back to Poppy Culture. Let's get poppin'. I'm Jake.
I'm Katie.
And we are here, we are back ranking Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. This time we're in phase 2. So we are going to get started jumping right back into phase 2. We have on tiermaker.com, we found a template for phase 2, and we were laughing because in the last ranking we did in phase 1, they had S, A, B, C, D. For phase 2, they've implemented an F. So apparently
Something on here they think is worse
they
than
think
D.
is worth an even lower score than a D.
Which
so we'll
at
find
first
out.
glance, I can only think of one that they think, maybe two. I think, we'll talk about it,
We'll
but I
talk
think
about
those two are the ones they're thinking of.
Maybe. So we'll get started here in the order of release. And the first movie that came out for phase 2 was Iron Man 3. And here, funny anecdote about Iron Man 3, I mentioned in the last video about traveling and performing. And actually, we were one of the guys that traveled with me at the time was from Wilmington, North Carolina, where they filmed Iron Man 3. It was supposed to be Tennessee, which would have been fine for us because we live in Tennessee, just outside Nashville. But they were filming it in Wilmington, North Carolina, right across the street from where this guy's mom worked. And we drove through and saw the sets one night. It was pretty cool. So I actually got to see where they were filming Iron Man 3. And so we were excited when the movie was coming out. We know a couple of people that were actually extras in the movie, so that was kind of cool. So that kind of connected us to it. And then we went to see it, and it was fine. It was fine. I thought Tony Stark was great. I thought it was interesting to take him out of, California or out of New York where Avengers Tower was, and to do
Put him
something
somewhere
different and
yeah.
kind of fish out of water, and he had to survive on his wits. They tried to take on the Extremis arc from the comic books and introduced, Killian and the Mandarin, and of course everybody. The reason that I see a lot of people don't like the movie is how they treated the Mandarin, because in the comics, I'm sure you don't remember, but in the comics, the Mandarin was the big bad of Iron Man, and he had the 10 rings that weren't just like a terrorist organization. They were actually 10 rings of power that he wore, not like rings of power, 10 rings that had power that he actually wore that allowed him to control energy and magic and that kind of thing. And so that was a little different even than what they did with the 10 rings in Shang-Chi. But if I'm messing that up, please forgive me. But nobody liked that they made the Mandarin basically a joke. And I get that. In the context of it being a movie and setting that up, I do think that was a little clunky because of how they had set up the 10 rings, even in the first Iron Man, as being part of those that had, kidnapped Tony Stark in the first movie. Expected more out of that. They kind of tried to play that in with Shang-Chi of saying, oh, well, his dad was the one that was in control. All that felt a little off to me. But I thought, you mentioned in the last ranking, the big fight at the end with all the Iron Man suits.
I thought that was that's why I'd probably put it a B, because I love that scene. I think that is one of the coolest scenes where he gets all of his suits and they all fight with him. I think that's so cool.
Okay.
So I would put it at B for that. Everything else, But I think the end fight scene is just so cool. I love that scene. Like when I think of Iron Man, I think of that scene.
Well, I will give it
To B.
I'm going to put it in B, but I'm going to think about it as we go through the rest. I think it would be more of a C.
Well,
I think they tried leaning into Tony's kind of PTSD a
Yeah.
little bit.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, well, I'll put it there.
Look,
But as we go through,
as I'm looking at the rest, there's a total of at least 4 that I'm putting at S. So.
Wow, 4 out of 8, 50% S. The kid.
The kid.
Okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there, and I will explain why on every single one of them. But I love those films. Anyways, we will go to the next one, which is Agent Carter.
Agent Carter.
Which is a TV show.
Correct.
I believe it only got 2 or 3. I can't remember.
I think it had 1. It had
really?
this.
I thought it had 2.
No, I think it was this season. And I loved the first few episodes. I loved Peggy Carter as a character from the first Avenger. I really like the actress. I thought
love
she
the
did a great
actress.
job. Haley Atwell, I like her as an actress, and she fit the part really well. I thought it was a little interesting how they tried to stretch Howard Stark into that, and Jarvis. That was
Yes.
interesting.
That was
The
cool.
setting, I love the period pieces of going back to the 40s like that and what they were doing. That was cool. I think the story meandered, and I think the later episodes betrayed the intrigue of the first few. So I hate to do it to Haley, but to me it's a C.
Okay, that's fine. I hate to think about it because at the end of Endgame, everything that happens in that show gets completely rewritten. So it kind of, the show itself just feels very not canon. So to me, I feel like it falls with the Incredible Hulk of like,
Oh.
Like you don't have to watch it
Okay.
because it doesn't matter. Same with like, which is really, I watched the whole first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then I stopped watching because I found out that none of it was canon. So I was like, as good as it was, I was like, I don't need to watch this to enjoy the movies. And it was getting so far out of, like it didn't feel like a Marvel thing anymore, which I feel like towards the end of this, it also didn't feel very Marvel because it wasn't supposed to tie in cohesively very well. And so it kind of,
I think they wanted it to. And
I think they just lost the plot.
Well, I think right about here they start spinning a lot of plates.
Yes.
And some of those plates
Start to fall.
started to get, I don't know if they fell. I don't think they fell till later, but I think they started to spin a lot and there was a lot of wobbling and it's hard to control that. So, okay, let's move on to the next film, Thor 2, Thor the Dark World.
So I think people hate this film.
They do hate this film.
That, yeah, I don't.
Mainly, they think that Malekith is a very weak villain, even though Christopher Eccleston is a great, of course, we're Doctor Who fans, so you can't see it, but under the laptop right here, we actually have a Doctor Who blanket on the table.
It's covered in cat hair, so we won't show
So
you.
we're not going to show you.
It's there. You just
I'd love to
gotta
go
believe us.
back in time and remove all the cat hair. But Christopher Eccleston
He did a good job.
played Malekith, but they really cut out a lot of, I've seen some deleted scenes and stuff. They really, and what they intended for his character to be, they really cut out a lot of that. So I think that had an impact on the overall story. There are parts where you see some of the comedic Thor start to come in, where he's like hanging the hammer, hanging Mjolnir up on the coat rack.
That is funny.
Stuff like that I think people at the time, they weren't really into that. Thor was supposed to be the super serious character. There was some of it I enjoyed. I liked the parts of Asgard with the ships and that and the battle
Zachary
and the other.
Levi is in
Zachary
it.
Levi's in it.
I love him. I love him in Chuck. I love him in Tangled. I love Zachary Levi. So Shazam, we won't talk about Shazam here because we're talking Marvel, but I love Zachary Levi. And this is the movie where Loki's like in prison, right?
Yes.
I love Prison Loki. He is so funny. He is so funny in prison.
Okay, so
I would put it at either A or B. I don't hate this movie. I don't
hate it either. I agree.
I think it's a good movie, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, this is when we get introduced to the stone, the first stone besides the Tesseract, right?
The Tesseract was first.
Right, so, but I mean besides that one.
And then they call it the Ether because they hadn't really wrapped their head around the Infinity Stones yet. But then they retroactively made the Ether a stone. So
yeah. So I liked the introduction of this stone. I liked Loki. I think Thor did a good job of kind of finding himself now that he was back to being worthy of Mjolnir. And like in his movie, he already was for the Avengers, but like coming back in his own movie, I think he did a good job. And I don't know, I liked this movie. I thought it was pretty good.
Where do you want to put it?
I would put it in either A or B. You can pick.
I don't think I can give it an A.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
I think it's B. There were parts that if they had fleshed out Malekith a little more.
See, and this is coming from somebody who's never read any of the comics.
Right,
so
right.
I don't know these characters that everybody else knows so well and knows how they're supposed to be. So like that's why I could put it on A.
It's not even about that. I just think that his motivation was a little weak, and I think the way that they pushed him, that he pushed things forward, I think were just a little off.
That's fair.
It could have
That's
been
fair.
it could have been stronger. So
Yeah.
I'll say B. I think
Okay.
B is fair. And
All
then
right.
we have another, or the first one shot on this list,
I don't
which
remember
is
this.
Hail to the King. So I'll tell you what, rather than go over it, we're going to put it at C. What that is, it's the character of Trevor that played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. And
Yeah, I
they
don't
try to
remember
spin it
watching it.
that he's in prison, and they try to spin it that, oh no, he really is the Mandarin, maybe. Which then, of course, they completely undercut in Shang-Chi, where no, he's just Trevor again. So,
That's funny. The next one, though, the next four are my S tiers, just so everyone knows. If there was higher, then a couple of them would be put on the higher. I love the next four.
I mostly agree. Yeah. So
The next one is Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
And we're just going to move that right up
Immediately
on the
to S.
S.
So
that is great.
There are two films, and they're ironically both in phase 2, that I almost never watched, and I will tell you why. Like my dad mentioned earlier, he was gone a lot traveling. And as he also mentioned, he would go and he would see movies with his group when I wasn't there. There were two movies I specifically asked this man, do not go see them with the men that you are friends with and traveling with. Wait to go see them with your child who is so excited for these movies and wants to see them for the first time with you. If you have guessed where this is going, he went without me for both of these films. So in the stubborn person that I am, I decided I wasn't going to watch them. The first one is Winter Soldier, but my love for Bucky overruled that, and I did end up watching it. I will explain the next one when we get to it. I obviously watched that one as well, and ironically, they're two of my favorite Avengers movies.
I really don't think we need to go much deeper into the Winter Soldier. Everybody knows
fantastic.
How good it is. It's good from top to bottom, from start to finish.
Sebastian Stan does a fantastic job playing the Winter Soldier.
Everything about it is great.
It's so good.
The fact that they got an actor like Robert Redford to appear. The only gripe I have with it is that whole mask thing that Scarlett Johansson uses, the Black Widow, and they just never use that technology again.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's interesting. That's maybe my only gripe. The whole Natalie and Steve on the run, trying to get away from as they're chasing them, and then ducking into an Apple store kind of place, funny. And the guy, they think they got caught, and the guy's just like, oh,
I would have loved to have seen more Nat and Steve together. I think they were a cute couple. I like Steve and then I mean this wholeheartedly, and I'm sorry to everyone, I like him with anybody but Peggy.
Wow.
Anybody but Peggy.
What just happened?
Except for Peggy's niece. That's creepy. That's weird. Let's not do that. Mainly, I like him with Nat. I would love Steve and Nat to have gotten together.
My mind is currently
blown.
No idea.
I don't like Nat and Bruce together at all. I think they're weird together. I am a huge Steve and Nat fan, but also.
Would that be Stat or Neve?
I think Neve's funnier.
Well, Neve,
like Neve Campbell.
Well, I'm thinking Neve recording preamps and consoles, but
no, I also would have loved Nat with Bucky, but now I've seen Bucky and Yelena. Love that even more. So Steve and Nat should be together, and Bucky and Yelena should be together.
That's interesting. You
have
have blown my mind with the Steve and Peggy
I've
thing.
angered so many people.
You have blown my mind with that. I'm seriously. I'm a little verklempt. I really.
I don't think he should have gone back to her either.
That's interesting.
It makes me angry that he did. We
That's
won't get into it. We will go to the next one.
Okay. We'll go to the next one.
Which is
Guardians of the
S tier
Galaxy.
immediately.
S tier immediately. Loved everything about it.
So good.
And I was nervous, of course, being a fan of the comics. I read Guardians of the Galaxy because space nerd, sci-fi, and I remember the original Guardians, and then I remember, when Rocket was involved in the whole thing. So and I was nervous. I didn't know how they were going to make, because Rocket Raccoon in the comics is, what did you say?
He's my favorite.
Yeah, but he's so violent.
They do a good job with making him funny and violent, though.
And like his catchphrase is like "Blam killed ya," right? And I was thinking, how are they going to do this in a movie that a bunch of kids are going to go see? And I think they did a great job. James Gunn did a great job.
Him stealing the leg.
That whole thing where he's like, "Oh,
I'm gonna need your leg," and he's like, "Why?"
Yeah, and then Rocket's like, I didn't need the leg. Like that's so.
And he cracks up.
So
over
funny.
It. The music is phenomenal.
Great.
I love this film so much. I can quote it as I watch it. Like it is one of my all-time favorite Marvel movies ever.
And we went to see that opening night and got a really cool T-shirt as a gift when we went to see it.
I should have put it on. I have it still upstairs.
Well, we're going to do more rankings, so maybe you can do it there. So so Guardians S tier, without a doubt, absolutely. Next comes a controversial one that a lot of people don't rank very highly.
I will.
I will too. I rewatched this. I don't know why. For those of you that are new to our channel, Poppy Cultured, we're new to it too. So we've done YouTube stuff in the past, family vlogs, stuff like that. We're both musicians, so we have each have a musician YouTube channel where our music's up there. But to sit here and talk about movies and pop culture, this is new to us too. Unless it's just us sitting around the living room talking, or
or talking to our
or
friends,
texting and sending memes back and forth. So to us, it's new to talk about this stuff to you guys. But we just a couple weeks ago, I was in this mode where if I was sitting down and had free time and I'm going to watch something, I watched a Marvel movie. And I watched Captain America. I watched Thor. I watched the first Avengers movie. And I watched Age of Ultron. Spoiler, that's our next film. I watched Infinity War Endgame. I watched all three of the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. I watched Winter Soldier. I watched Civil War. I went through all those movies just in the last month, really. So that's why one reason it's so top of mind. But I remember watching Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, and thinking, man, I'm really enjoying this movie, especially considering what comes next. And I was excited when it came out too, and I enjoyed it when it came out, but I appreciated it more on the rewatch just a few weeks ago. Because being a fan of the comic books, and I hate to keep bringing that up, but I was such a fan of the Avengers that I loved the Vision character. And when I knew he was coming in, and I thought it was clever tying it into Jarvis, I know some of the complaints are, well, that was a Hank Pym creation, especially in Age of Ultron, and I get that, but they hadn't brought Hank Pym in yet. So how do you do that? The tech guys that are already involved in the MCU, Tony and Bruce. So I get that. I would have been fine with it being Pym, but the fact that it was involved with Jarvis and the whole thing, I'm a big James Spader fan going back to the 80s. So I thought that was an interesting casting and different. It would have been the easy route to go with ha ha ha, I'm the bad guy kind of idea. But having that kind of that James Spader gravitas, but just that contemplative, thoughtful was it was an interesting thing to do. So I really loved it. I have no problem moving this up to S.
I love this film so much. It introduces Scarlet Witch, which obviously at that point she's not Scarlet Witch, but that's besides the point. But it introduces Wanda. It introduces Quicksilver, who he's like one of my favorites in the X-Men. So I loved seeing him. Obviously, he didn't last very long, but Aaron Taylor Johnson, I love him. I wish they could actually bring him back somehow.
Fun fact, they didn't call him
Quicksilver, right.
He was Pietro.
He was.
Because of the Fox.
Still at that, which is why she was also just Wanda.
That's why
I loved the Maximoff twins. We'll just put it at that. I think they were fantastic additions. I loved that film so much. Good movie.
I love it. It's up at S. I think it needs to be there.
I think
it was enjoyable. There. The whole way they set up Hawkeye through the whole thing, thinking they're going to kill him, and then
Quicksilver.
And then Quicksilver ends up sacrificing himself for.
And he says bet you didn't see that coming.
Right.
So good.
Really good.
So good.
Really good. I enjoyed it. I loved it on the rewatch. So easy to put it up there. That brings us to our final film of Phase 2 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And the next film he saw without me when I asked him not to. This one, fun fact, I actually held out longer for watching it. I don't think I watched it for a solid like 2 years after it came out, 2 or 3. Whereas Winter Soldier, I think I gave it like a month or 2.
We watched as soon as it came out, and we could watch it.
And we
at
bought
home.
it.
We bought
I
it.
gave in and I watched it.
You and Allie watched it. Actually, you watched it. I don't think
Allie's never seen it because she has held out longer than I have because she was right there with me.
My oldest daughter, her sister, just
She was like, no, I'm not gonna watch it. And
as stubborn as she is, which is her sister is even more stubborn.
with certain things, there are certain things that I will be more stubborn about. Yeah, which is weird. And I've tried even now to get her to watch it. I'm like, Allie, get over it. And she's
Allie's
like, I
missing
don't
out.
care now.
Allie's missing out.
Yeah.
So it's all on Allie. It's not on us. Allie should just watch it.
But
Allie's a grown
watched
woman.
it.
She is married. She has a baby. She just needs to get
this
over
one-
it and watch The Winter Soldier.
This one I know for the next film, which is Ant-Man. I remember when I watched it, we were in the car and you brought it back up and I was like, I've never seen it. And you were like, you still haven't seen it? And you got so mad that you put it on your phone and held it in front of my face. So I had to watch
it was good.
And it gripped me within 2 minutes.
It was
I love this film. I would put it at S. I absolutely love Paul Rudd. I think he does a fantastic job as Ant-Man. I think the whole story is amazing. I love Paul Rudd with Evangeline Lilly. I think they do a fantastic lyric chemistry. They do a fantastic job together. I love this film so much. It would be in one of my top 5s for the Avengers
I have
solo
moved it up
films.
to S. I think it's great. I always loved Ant-Man. Like I said, again,
Love it.
Avengers
I love
fan.
it.
So I loved
love
Hank
Paul
Pym.
Rudd.
I didn't really read any of the Scott Lang comics, but I'd read the Hank Pym Ant-Man. Loved Ant-Man, especially in the Avengers. And so I was excited to see the movie. I was really excited when originally...
You saw it without me.
No.
Oh, okay. Thought that's where we were going.
That's not where I was. That's not where I was going at all. I was really looking forward to it when they originally had Edgar Wright, the director, was attached to direct it. I love his films. And I was excited by that. And then when he left, I was a little disappointed. But I think it turned out pretty great.
So good.
I loved Paul Rudd as the choice for Scott Lang. I thought Michael Douglas was good as Hank Pym. The whole thing, the miniaturization thing at the end with Thomas the Tank Engine, and that, and the pet ant, and all that stuff. I just thought it was all really good. Really well done. The effects were great. The story was great. You know what else was great? Honestly, the posters for Ant-Man were fantastic.
Agreed.
If you get a second, go to Google Images or your favorite search engine and look up the posters for the first Ant-Man movie. They were smart.
They did so good with it.
They were clever. Some great minimalist advertising. Really, really good stuff. As a graphic artist myself, just really
I
good
will say,
stuff.
Marvel does a fantastic job with film posters.
Sometimes, like as we're looking at these posters,
Some of them look very similar to the next.
they get the job done, but it's the main character kind of looking off or looking over his shoulder. You know, you're looking at his back and he's looking, and then helmets are off or it's just floating heads around them.
I think they're very nostalgic and I like them.
Okay, that's fine. But as an artist, sometimes
Anywho, back to Ant-Man. It has some.
their posters were great.
It has some of my favorite quotes, like the Baskin Robbins. The whole thing with Baskin Robbins is hilarious.
It's so good.
So good.
And Paul Rudd does such a great job.
I
of selling
love
it.
Paul Rudd
It's
so much.
so
He's a
good.
fantastic Scott Lang, and I'm so happy he's in the
So good.
MCU.
So that is the end of Phase 2. In S, we have The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. Nothing in A.
Yeah.
Then we have Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World as B, and then in C, we have Agent Carter and All Hail the King, the one shot that came out. So do you agree? Did we get something wrong? What do you think about Phase 2? What do you think about these movies? Do you think we should have ranked any higher? Do you think we should have ranked some lower? Let us know in the comments below, and we will be back soon with another video.
If you do want to rank any of our S's lower, I will disagree with you wholeheartedly. But that's it for us.
So if you want to fight, ladies and gentlemen,
Let me know.
let her know. We'll be back soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.